I'm Josh Larsen. These are the 10 best films of 2022. Number 10. Omer, directed by Alice Jupp. As Laurence, the mother on trial for murdering her infant daughter, Guslaji Malanda presents an implacable face that somehow still tells 100 different stories. The story of being a young, isolated mother, but also the story of being a daughter, of being a Senegalese immigrant, of being a French college student. Those stories all combine to form many more. Jupp's camera remains fixed on Laurence for much of the film, yet through her taciturn testimony, and through a secondary character attending the trial, played by Kaji Kagome, Omer is a riveting courtroom drama with implications that reach far beyond the particularities of its case. Number 9. Don't Worry Darling, directed by Olivia Wilde. You know what? I don't really care about the plane. Questions of plot and logistics fell by the wayside as I succumbed to the stylish sauciness of this Stepford Wives spin, featuring a stout performance from Florence Pugh as a mid-century wife who starts to question her idyllic life. Don't Worry Darling is smart and darkly funny about the way things were, are, and frighteningly could be in the future for women under the thumbs of controlling men. Oh, and Harry Styles is good too, especially in the moments when he really needs to be. Number 8. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson. Another Pinocchio from Del Toro, in stop motion? I won't say I had a slot set aside on my list for this title since the beginning of 2022, but it was likely going to take 10 other phenomenal films to keep Del Toro's out. The craft, overseen by Del Toro and his co-director, Mark Gustafson, is impeccable. Meanwhile, the story manages to honor the original fairy tale and still make room for Del Toro's usual political and spiritual obsessions. And don't tell Cliff Edwards, but Ewan McGregor might now be my favorite Pinocchio cricket. Number 7. Decision to Leave, directed by Park Chan-wook. When it comes to Korean director Park Chan-wook, I've run cold, old boy, and warm, The Handmaiden. Decision to Leave is hot. That's because this time Park's Hitchcockian technique is in service of a beating heart, the skewed romance between a police detective and a murdered man's wife. Indeed, it's Tong Wei, exquisitely, deceptively delicate as the wife, who deserves much of the credit for giving Park's expertly choreographed cinema a throbbing pulse. Number 6. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, directed by Dean Fleischer Camp. It's really the voice of Jenny Slate as Marcel the Shell who you should be hearing right now, because then you would have no qualms about me putting this unassuming but intricately made little film on my list. Guileless but wise and always witty, Marcel offered me the soft, cinematic hug that I needed when it came out mid-year, and I still need it now. I probably always will. Number 5. Hit the Road, directed by Panah Panahi. Like much of top-tier Iranian cinema, Hit the Road is hard to categorize. The movie begins as a family road trip comedy, complete with a precocious kid and a cute dog, but then grows in existential import until it feels as if you're watching something like Waiting for Godot on the Go. With an eye for landscape and a penchant for pertinent visual flourishes, Panahi, son of acclaimed director Jafar Panahi, delivered one of the most impressive feature debuts of the year. Number 4. Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. Where would Hollywood be without Jordan Peele? Mucking about in various IP multiverses, I'd guess. The most inventive, incisive, and amusing blockbuster maker working today has delivered 3 hits in a row now, each of which challenge multiplex audiences as much as they entertain. Peele is a prophet jester, able to reference Nahum 3 and 1990s sitcoms in the same moment. The movies, that's with a capital M, need more of this, now more than ever. Number 3. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, directed by Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. Another invigorating popular hit, this was a multiverse worth visiting, expanding ever further outward in order to fully capture the existential angst roiling within the soul of a middle-aged mother and laundromat owner. As Evelyn, as various Evelyns really, Michelle Yeoh gives a career performance. Not because it's necessarily her best, but because she capably plays a career's worth of parts in one film. Number 2. After Yang, directed by Kogonada. Delivering on the patient promise of his debut film Columbus, Kogonada offers an experience that's somewhat like watching tea leaves float to the bottom of a clear pot as they're steeping, which incidentally is one of After Yang's recurring images. The story of a family in the near future dealing with the decommissioning of the techno-sapien who has so lovingly served them. After Yang gently prompts you to consider death and diminishment, but also beauty and promise. Number 1. Aftersun, directed by Charlotte Wells. A debut feature film of uncommon control, Aftersun still feels like a found treasure, something Wells left in a box in the back of her closet, never intending it to be seen by anyone else. The movie follows a father, played by Paul Mescal, and his 11-year-old daughter, played by Frankie Corio, on a resort vacation in Turkey. Wells presents this as a gathering of memories from the daughter's perspective years later, as an adult. A piercing collection of recollections, some presented as home movie footage from the trip, others as dramatized scenes from varying points of view. Aftersun creates a space that's gorgeously observed and ghostly. It's a devastating reminder of how easily those we love the most can still slip through our hands. Aftersun, the best movie of 2022.